Howdy folks, John here. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a cautionary tale of purchasing cheap, no-name valve stems, and then quickly going over the easy valve stem replacement process using the ever-popular manual tire changer. In the second half of the video, I'll be answering some common questions from my manual tire changer series, which has proven to be very popular, with the tire mount and balance video currently having over 1.4 million views. Of course, thanks to all of you. If you're interested in that series, I'll have links below in the description and first pinned comment. But let's first get this nasty valve stem issue fixed. So here's the issue on 1-year-old cheap no-name valve stems, rotting right through, ready for catastrophic failure at any moment. This is a winter wheel set, doesn't see high sun or temperature, definitely ozone degradation on cheap rubber. Yeah, so after doing a little bit of research, finding out what valves came on our vehicle from the factory, a lot of European vehicles come with Stomel, also Alligator valve group valves. So these are their TR413s, and just a really high quality European valve. I'm sure there's other ones. CK Auto's TR413s get good reviews on Amazon, so you're pretty safe with those. Feel free to leave a comment if you know of other good quality valve stem brands. And yeah, they're a little bit more. If you shop around, you should be able to get them for under 50 cents a valve. So can you tell which one is the Alligator brand and which is the probably Chinese brand from Amazon? Well, if you guess this is the Alligator, yes it is. So the Alligator stem, 10 grams. The Amazon, likely Chinese one, 6 grams. Big difference. And no, I didn't remove the core. Again, this easy valve stem replacement method is for those of you who have got a manual tire changer or are thinking of getting one. If you don't have one, there's other options. You can get these AME valve change tool kits. And the way they work is you shove this metal rod down between the valve stem and the hole in the wheel, and you get the hook underneath the valve and you yank it out. I, however, personally would never use one of these on an alloy because the chance of damaging the hole when you drive that by is very great with soft alloy. And that hole, of course, is where your sealing surface is around the valve. Also doubtful you're going to get a high quality valve down this little cone to compress it through the hole. You know, the ones they come with are quite soft, and they do work great on steel wheels, but again, I wouldn't trust it on an alloy, and you're certainly not going to use it to remove a TPMS sensor valve stem. First, cleaning the wheels to make sure no dirt scratches them or no dirt gets down into the bead sealing surface. As shown in part 1, I bolt my changer to the floor, and I just have these little plugs that I screw into the bolt holes to keep dirt and water out. Works great. Next, we're going to bolt the unit down to the floor. Remove the valve core so we can get the air out real quick. Put on your tire lube of choice to aid in breaking the bead. Now we'll just cut off the back side of the valve stem, not all the way through or it might fall into the tire. Just enough to pull it out. Grab some pliers, give her a yank. Now we'll get our new valve and slip it through from the back. Lots of room to work with. Thread on our valve stem tool. Pull it through till we hear the pop. And now we'll just fill it up to seat the bead. So it's that quick and easy to replace rotted out cheap valve stems, or any valve stems for that matter. Jeez, I still can't believe that. Let's get to the manual tire changer Q&A now. What is the maximum wheel size a manual changer like this will handle? Well, it has nothing to do with the manual tire changer itself. Maximum wheel size is dependent on your specific duck head modification, which, as we know, you purchase or build separately. Specifically, the length of the radius arm that the duck head sits on. This is a 20-inch wheel that we've got in here right now. And as you can see, it's actually just over 21 inches. They use the inside dimension of the tire to get the size. But we've still got a lot of room up here to move this out. So if we move this right to its maximum throw on this specific one, again, if you needed something bigger, you'd just build it with a longer radius arm. You know, we've got from the center here to the duck head, you know, over 12 inches. So this specific one with a radius arm of basically 13 inches would sufficiently do a 24-inch wheel. Does the duck head mod come with the tire changer? This is answered in part 2 of the series. No, you purchase it or build it separately. How close was the static bubble balance after you drove all the way to the city to have a good tire shop recheck them with a computerized dynamic balancer? I don't know, because in the 26 wheels I've now balanced on the bubbler, all have been smooth as glass with no detectable vibration. So I've never bothered making several long trips to the city to have them rechecked. In fact, knowing how well the manual changer with the duck head mod was working for me, I was going to order a CAE 3019 computerized balancer last summer. These are awesome little home garage computerized balancers here in Canada, and I still may get one, but I've put it off due to the simple fact I keep getting vibration-free results with the bubbler. It's not even the cost so much, it's the large amount of space required for a computerized balancer, and real estate is already tight in our garage. Have you tried balance beads? Nope, and I likely never will. Not because they don't work. You know, theoretically, balance beads are capable of giving the best dynamic balance results possible. It's why fluid balancing works so well in dynamic rotating systems, after all. I don't use balance beads because of the mess they make. I remember at the dealership, we would hate the odd time wheels came in filled with those ceramic beads. They made scratching the wheels much more likely, as they get jammed between the wheel and the tire beads, you know, with the tire lube and everything on. And they would also fall into the tire changer mechanics and all over the floor. We would charge customers at least double if beads were in their tires, and I simply don't want anything to do with them. Will this equipment work on run flat tires? No idea, since I don't use run flats on any of our vehicles, and I hope I never have to. I know tire shops that won't even touch them, or charge a premium if they do. It of course totally depends on the size of the run flat tire as to how stiff or pliable they are. Last but not least, why would anyone even waste their time doing their own tire services? It's so much easier and cheaper going to a tire shop. Okay, those of us who choose to do our own DIY tire services do it for various reasons, and for most, it's not about saving money. However, in my remote location here in the Canadian Rockies, doing my own tire services does save a lot of money and time. Every time I do a tire set at home, or even a simple puncture repair, I save over $100 in gas, and I don't lose a day or two of my life or in lost wages. You know, this equipment has paid for itself several times over already, and I simply can't put a price on the convenience and peace of mind it offers. Now, there are, of course, non-financial reasons many of us choose to do our own tire services. Some, like me, crave being self-reliant while honing a new skill. Here's another big reason, as explained in part 4, tire shop wheel damage repair. Frankly, I am getting sick and tired of paying a premium price for careless to scratch the hell out of my wheels. You can also take more time to do a better job. I actually find doing my own tire service work fun and relaxing. It also allows you to inspect the inside of your wheels, which are often also damaged from careless shops. And if you want to refinish your own wheels, it's much easier with the tire removed. It's especially nice not dealing with the all too often unnecessary upsell nonsense some tire shops pressure customers into. I also like the better selection, pricing, and getting the exact tires I want from blackcircles.ca without the all too common substitutions that happen at the shops. No question, this is a DIY service many won't enjoy, but for those of us that do, it's awesome. I really have to laugh at how upset some people get over DIY tire services. I saw comments on other channels when I was first researching various at-home options, and certainly have had a few on my own channel now. Make a technically harder how-to brake service video, all is good. Make one on tires.
Well, then everyone loses their minds. Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos.
The great thing with chaos is the YouTube algorithm loves it. Speaking of love, I thought I'd share a little tip with an accessory I have absolutely come to love, and that's these nylon tire iron socks. They come in a pack of 3 usually, and they just slide over your 24-inch metal tire iron, and they go a long way to protect the wheel. If you recall from the part 2 where I was dismounting the tire, when we're putting the tire iron over top of the duck head and pulling the lip back before we started rotating the duck head, I mentioned to put a rag or something underneath the tire iron, because what happens when you start moving the duck head, the tire iron will slip off the duck head and crash against the wheel. And by having a rag under there, you would eliminate that possibility. But with these things, you don't even have to worry about that. And I found it's even easier. When you bring these over top of the duck head, they slide really easy off of the duck head when you start rotating it to remove the tire. And even if they do crash down, they usually don't. But if they do, of course, the wheel is well protected. So neat little accessory to get. Don't cost much. Links, again, down in the description if you want to check them out. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you next time.